All right, guys. So as we get closer to the election, you have a lot of the media outlets going to Trump rallies. And look, man, the best way to make somebody not be a Trump supporter is to put the microphone in front of the faces of Trump's most hardcore supporters. It's pretty straightforward. So Donnie O'Sullivan here of CNN went to a MAGA rally, and this exchange that you're about to see is wild.
This week's all-new episode of The Whole Story with Anderson Cooper. CNN's Donnie O'Sullivan looks at how conspiracy theories and online misinformation are already impacting this year's presidential campaign. It all airs Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern and Pacific on CNN. Of course, here's a preview.
The job of the journalist is to ask the questions, allow the person to speak, and just report the facts, what was spoken. Would you like for me to pull up the definition of journalist?
That's okay, but thank you, Julia.
Okay. I have a God-given right to speak my own truth.
But there are facts, right?
The facts have shown that the election was stolen.
I love how she starts out by saying, you guys need to just report the facts. And then she goes on to say, I have a right to report my truth. Run away from anybody who says that. Like, this is my truth. There is not any Kyle's truth, Bob's truth, Susan's truth. That's not a thing. There's only the truth, right? And she starts out by saying you should only report the facts. And then that becomes, well, the facts are basically whatever I want them to be, right? Whatever my truth is. The election was stolen. Okay.
Look at that and accept that and really show what's going on. That's your issue, not ours. We want the God-given freedom that our Constitution and our Bill of Rights is based on.
God-given constitutional rights.
Yes.
They're two different things, right?
No, sir, they're not. Read, R-E-A-D, the Constitution. Read it out loud to yourself so that you hear what the words of the Constitution say.
God isn't mentioned in the Constitution.
Sir.
Oh, man. If she was about to look that up, she was about to get a rude awakening. God's not mentioned in the Constitution, proceeds to look it up and find out he is 100% correct. God is not mentioned. Christianity is not mentioned. Jesus is not mentioned. Whatever sort of holy terms you can try to come up with, it ain't in there, man. It ain't in there. In fact, the phrase separation of church and state was in a letter written by one of the founding fathers, right? The whole idea is you cannot establish a religion in this country. There is no state religion. So that's where we get the idea of a separation between church and state. Look, I almost don't want to go too hard on somebody like this because it's like shooting fish in a barrel, right? Like, it's just a brainwashed person. It's just a brainwashed person. I'm sure she's drunk on Fox News or Newsmax or One America News Network. She obviously loves Trump with a massive burning passion, and she's just working backwards from that, right? And here's why it's a shame to me. You're taking all of this, like, anti-establishment anger, and it's just being redirected into supporting the establishment. Because Trump represents the establishment. He's a billionaire. He was the president of the United States. He served that deep state that everybody pretends like, they're his mortal enemy. He serves them. He serves corporations. He serves billionaires. He does tax cuts for the rich. He does deregulation. He is the establishment's wet dream. And you can sense that this woman's like, she can't wait to call bullshit on the system. And so there's a real, like, anger underneath that, but it's just pointed in the wrong direction. It should be people like this who get their anger harnessed in the proper direction and support policies that help working families and regular people. But instead, a mix of the brainwashing and loving Trump. Maybe she also has a rough personal situation. I don't know. All that stuff, it was a toxic brew that made her populist anger become raging in favor of the machine, right? Like that's ultimately what happened. And it's sad, man. And then you get moments like this where it's like, if you don't even know that God's not mentioned in the Constitution, like, what am I supposed to do with that? What am I supposed to do with that? So part of me wants to go, soft on her, but then the other part of me is like, if you don't know what you're talking about, please just stop talking, right? Just like get a different hobby. Politics is not for you. You find fucking some sport you like to play, or knit or crochet or some shit where the stakes aren't as high when you talk about these things. She was literally stunned silent when he said God's not in the Constitution. It's like so basic. This stuff is so basic. And also, by the way, the people who like virtue signal like they love the Constitution and then they support Trump shits all over the Constitution on a daily basis. Trump's the guy who signed a pro-torture executive order in direct violation of the 8th Amendment of the Constitution, which is protection from cruel and unusual punishment. Okay? Spare me. This is the guy, all these, First Amendment is, the most crucial part of the Constitution. What did Trump do as president? He said we should lock people up in jail for a year if they burn the American flag. Well, that's protected speech. That's free speech. The Supreme Court already ruled on it. This is the whole point of why the Constitution exists, to protect freedoms, even in fringe instances, like if somebody burns a flag. He wanted to crack down on that. He sued Bill Maher over a joke. You're telling me this guy believes in free speech? He sued CNN for hundreds of millions of dollars because he didn't like the stories they were reporting about him. You think this guy believes in free speech? He said we should open up the libel laws so we can sue people over speech more freely. He doesn't believe in free speech. I mean, fuck. Don't get me started. Anyway, man. So like I said, look, the best way to turn somebody off from Trump is to put the mic in front of a Trump supporter's face and let him go. And then you get moments like this. And all you got to do is look at them and say, you want these to be your bedfellows, man? Is this the team you want to sign up for? They're not sending their best. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.